Hey you guys, Laura here, and today we'll be working with the foam roller for a hip opening series. All right, so like I mentioned, we are going to be using the foam roller for a hip opening series, and it won't involve rolling out the hips. We are going to be actually taking it through a sequence that typically is done on the, if you can see in the corner there, the spine corrector for Pilates, but I know not everyone has access to a spine corrector at home, and you can also utilize a foam roller to do similar exercises and still get the same benefits of working the glutes, working the hamstring, opening up the thighs, and improving your hip mobility. So go ahead and grab your foam roller and let's get started. To start out for this series, we're going to take the foam roller and place it underneath the crease of our knees as we have our feet bent, and then slowly just take yourself downwards towards the ground. You can be laying down on a mat. I have carpet, so I'm not going to be laying down on a mat. But if you were on a hardwood floor, then I would definitely recommend it. We're going to creep this foam roller underneath our hips as we bridge our hip bones up. So now this foam roller is going to sit on our sacrum, not our booty cheeks and not our lower back. It's that triangle sacrum right in between, kind of like you look for your hip bones here, reach around towards the back, and it should be just slightly below that prominence line. All right, hands can go on top of your foam roller, or they can hug onto the side here. I'm going to do this side because that feels a little bit nicer on my chest. I feel a little bit of chest opening here. And as you're here, you want to feel like you could lift your head up if you wanted to. We're not smashing our head into the ground. That weight is distributed into our upper back across our shoulder line. All right, and now we're going to go ahead and get started. Pull your belly into your back. So what that means is I imagine that I'm zippering up my vest or I'm zippering up my pants, and I have this kind of like inwards connection that helps to brace my abdominals here. And once I've got that on, I'm going to start to engage through my lower abs. I'm going to reach one leg up to tabletop and then lower down, and then my other leg down to up to tabletop and then down. So we're just going to do some marches so that we can turn on our abdominals, turn on our glutes. And so we want to feel like we're not swaying from side to side as we lift those legs up into the sky. We have this evenness across our shoulders. I use that exhale to help me lift my leg up. And I still want to feel like, even though I'm not doing anything like a bridge or lunges or anything like that, I still want to feel like my butt is turned on to help raise and lower my leg. So a lot of times I find that some people comment about having a click in their hip, and usually what that is from is not having that back posterior support from their glute and having their lower abdominals turned off as well. So you want them to be working together. And then that's going to help hold that upper leg bone, that femur, in its hip socket. You'll stop hearing that little click. One more with the right side. One more with the left side. And then we're going to have both legs come up at the same time. So first I'll lead my right leg, then I'll have my left leg on. We're going to go heels together, toes apart. I'm creating kind of like this frog shape with my legs. From here, straighten your legs onto the horizon, and then resist it right back in. So you're going to pick a spot out in space where you feel like you've got control with your abs. So my inner thighs and bottom squeeze as my legs press out. And I also feel that belly tighten into my lower back. I want to make sure that my ribs are not popping and that my back is not arching. So notice that if I press my legs too low, that makes my belly want to protrude upwards to the sky, and that's not what I want. I want my belly to be hugging into my center. And here, once again, I'm warming up the inner thighs, the glutes, the lower abdominals, all of these muscles that are going to help to take tension off of the front of my thighs. 2 more here. So we're just warming up here. Now we're working symmetrically, bilaterally. Last 2 for 10. And then I want you to keep your legs out. Lift your legs towards the ceiling. And so I should have my toes maybe right over my hip bones, making a perpendicular line with the floor. And then from here, I'm going to reach down, down, down towards the ground. But remember, I want that belly to stay in, no popping of my belly or the ribs. And then I'm going to lift it upwards towards the sky again. Hamstring stretch for me. Down, down, down. Keep those inner thighs pulling together so that we try to take tension off of the quads. I have my heels together. My toes are slightly apart. I make sure that my legs aren't layering over one another. So sometimes if I really try to get those inner thighs together, I'll have one leg that goes on top of the other. And we don't want that. We want them to kind of the seams to be touching, but not overlapping. Last 2 here. And exhale, lift. 1 more. And then we're going to end with the legs back up at the ceiling. Now from here, we're going to keep our hips square on the foam roller, change our legs so that they're reaching parallel. So before we had a turnout position, now we're parallel. I want one leg to stay in the sky as the other leg reaches into what we call a scissor. So as the leg comes down, I feel my butt turn on, and then I'm going to switch legs. And switch. So it's like I'm trying to take my legs into the splits. I have one hamstring that gets stretched as it comes shin bone towards my same side shoulder. And the other side, I feel like I'm stretching through the front of the hip flexor as my butt turns on to support my leg in space. Scissor kick split. Scissor kick split. It's a really great way to help to strengthen your glutes. Open chain, which means that our feet are not connected to anything. It's open in space. We get to stabilize through our trunk, through our torso, and we have the feedback of the foam roller to let us know we're not twisting through our pelvis, through our hips. So I really love giving this to my running clients or to clients that have lower back or hip or knee pain, because it really helps to teach them about balance and symmetry through their pelvis and torso. We're going to go one more down with the right, one more down with the left. And this one sometimes gets confusing for people. So go ahead and rock up to a seated position if you want to watch. We're going to go into a series called bicycle. So as I have one leg down in my scissor kick, I'm going to bend it and I can feel my quads stretch. Pull it in and straighten it to the sky. My opposite foot will now come down for my scissor. Bend it so that the toe or the heel strikes the ground. Pull it in and extend. I can feel that my right thigh is tighter. Lower, bend, pull, and extend. Lower, bend the knee. Knee towards the chest, but really we're just trying to stack that femur perpendicular to the ground. And now see if you can have it go a little bit more rhythmically. So we have both legs that are pedaling. One leg will have the toe reaching towards the sky as the other toe is trying to touch the ground. Now, remember that we're not trying to let our hip pop here. So that hip popping is a really good indication that something in our body is turned off, something that's supposed to be stabilizing us. So whether that's the lower belly, whether that's your bottom, we try to see if we can feel which one that is and try to get that connection back. One more time. And that's kind of like we're running in place, right? Now let's see if we can run backwards. This one's a little bit of a brain teaser. We drag the toe along the floor, lift the leg up. Bend in, toe to floor. Drag along the floor, lift up. So if the reverse direction is a little bit too confusing for you, then go ahead and keep going with that first direction that we did. The whole point here is to help to stretch the quad as we're working through the glute, stabilizing through the pelvis, through the hips. Your hands are either on top of the roller or they're hugging the roller. But if you were hugging the roller and if you move them on top, would that roller roll away? And that lets you know if maybe something's trying to work that shouldn't be working, because our roller should stay in the same spot. We just want belly and glutes, not our back. If that roller moves forward or back, it lets us know that that lower back is trying to extend. Last one here. All right, this next one is one of my favorites. We're going to take the legs upwards towards the sky. This one, we're going to split the legs, go around in a circle. It's called helicopter. Split the legs and find them opposite. Around in our circle. My right leg is now above my toes. I split the leg so that my left leg is around my toe, is above my nose, and then I go around the circle again. Split and circle. Split and circle. So it's a really great hip mobility exercise as we're kind of massaging the legs around the acetabulum. All right, we're going to switch the circles in a second. I'm going to keep my right toe over my nose, and now I'm going to go the opposite direction with my circle. Around, 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 and split. Around, 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 and split. One more time. And once you're done with those circles, go ahead and rest your feet to the ground. Slide that roller out from underneath your tailbone and allow that tailbone to settle into the ground. All right. So I like to settle here just for a moment, just because we were in what was called an inverted position. So our hips were higher than our heart. So you allow everything to just settle into the earth, allow your hips and your torso to level out in the same line. And when you feel like you're ready, you'll come up to a seated position. And then you're all done. So like I mentioned, this is a really great series to help on lengthening through the quads, lengthening through the hip flexors, a lot of things that get tight on runners, or a lot of things that get tight during a heavy lifting leg day, or that I find that are tight in just a lot of athletes in general. So a really great series for you to do with just a foam roller that you can have at your own house. I have a series of reviews on different foam rollers that you can find on Amazon, and I'm sure that you could find at your local mom and pop store as well. I'll leave them down in the description below. What are some of my favorites? If you don't have one, I highly recommend getting a foam roller. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my page already, go ahead and subscribe. And make sure you ring the bell so that you can get the notifications when there's a new video that's up. If you have something that you're curious about learning about, that you want to have help stretching or working, or you want to get better at something, let me know and I'd be happy to help create a video around that topic for you. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video.